So people are starting to get fed up. That's what I've been hearing, at least recently, whenever it comes to the Filian situation. And we did touch on this in the original video when we talked about this one clip that came out. Now, if you guys don't know, in Shibuya Crossing in Japan, there was an advertisement which featured Filian. And obviously it was some kind of advertisement towards Hiatus. There's been this whole ARG thing going on with the wall. And a lot of people have been contributing towards the wall to create a billboard that will go up in Shibuya Crossing. Now, I don't know if it's the same billboard as the one from this ad. We played it in the last video. Essentially, it's just Filian saying, like, you know, can you hear me? And that's about it, right? But people have been getting very excited because it could hint at the fact that she could be returning very soon. But there's been some people on the opposite end of things, which I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit more today, because some people are fed up of the ARG and are a little bit bored and just want to get straight to the debut without actually, they're not hating on Filian or anything. They're not saying that like Filian's a bad content creator or anything. They just think that a lot of this stuff is getting a little bit, out of hand. And a lot of this stuff is getting a little bit outstretched, which is what I've seen quite a lot in the comment sections as well on the videos that, I've made on this, right? Some people being like, I don't care anymore. I just want it to be back, or I don't care anymore. Like, come on, this is getting a little bit crazy now, which I can understand, right? Because it has been a very long time. Now, again, some people will be really into this and will really like this, and that's totally okay too. But it's also totally okay to understand that there's a lot of people out there who don't really like ARGs, right? And don't really like participating and stuff like that, and having to wait all this time for, have to come back, right? And of course, there's been comments like this, for example, on Reben's original post saying, respectfully, was Filian even big enough to warrant all of this, especially in Japan, where she probably doesn't have any viewers? Not even Kisner's return went through this much advertising. Saying, so which companies did she join? Which obviously I don't know if she did or not. Saying, I'm glad they're clearly doing okay though. So again, there was a couple of people talking about it, but for example, this post which I came across from Proctor saying, am I the only one that is completely sick and tired of hearing about Filian's stupid and pointless ARG? The entire thing has been gratingly irritating since the beginning. Since it began, and but now I'm starting to genuinely despise any mention of her on my timeline. I didn't used to dislike Filian. She was one of the only content creators who dared to platform people like Hiatus. I wasn't a regular viewer, but she had a genuine chemistry with many collaborators, and I can at least understand her appeal. But now I sincerely dislike her for this insane months-long marketing stunt. I wouldn't care so much, except that I know how her abrupt and inexplicable disappearance concerned and worried many people who were suddenly locked out of the loop, some of whom were anticipating future participations in events she was planning. Some others were so concerned that they spent large amounts of time trying to figure out if something terrible had happened to her, like a fatal accident or a disaster. If she actually comes back, I don't plan on making any commentary on it. She can do whatever she wants with her brand, but I'm not going to become a hater or anything cringe like that. But I'm sick of the whole situation. I'll go so as far as to say that she has been taken advantage, of her audience and significantly betrayed their trust in ways that she is very, very lucky to have gotten away with so far. Personally, I think nothing she does after her return will fully make up for that, barring a genuine apology. So they wanted an apology. Now, I don't think it would be that, me personally, I wouldn't go that far to say like to give an apology. Maybe, just a little bit like of an offhand, I guess, maybe on stream. Whenever she does actually debut, being like, oh yeah, sorry guys, it took so long, and maybe explain why it took so long. Potentially, right? That could be something that, I could see, and that would actually be helpful, I guess, into understanding why this took so long. Some people have been commenting on it though, saying, why are you lying? There's no way that someone could have been concerned about her disappearance without being an underage kid with a lower IQ. She vanished with no warning, and the majority of people had no clue of what had happened. Now, again, I can kind of, in response to this comment, there were people that were genuinely worried about Filian. I could see it in my comment sections. There were people that were actually like, concerned, like IRL concerned, not just like, oh, I wish she was back. It's like they were like, oh, has she got into like a terrible accident or something? Again, people were genuinely concerned about that, and I think it comes from a lot of people on either Twitter or places, kind of spreading information about what happened to her, like fake information, saying that this happened to her, or this happened to her, which I think kind of like made people kind of freak out a little bit. Now, obviously, it's not the majority of the audience. I think that it definitely was a minority that were kind of just kind of being worried about her like IRL. But of course, I've made many videos kind of trying to dispel that and say like, you know, this is 100% an ARG, like this is 100% planned, because again, there was that kind of indicator at the end of her final stream, at the end of the Minecraft subathon, right? So as long as you saw that stream, as long as you know what happened in that stream, then you know it's all part of some kind of plan that she has, and not because of some like tragic event, right? But of course, not everybody saw that stream, right? Because not everybody watches Filian's stream, as we've covered so many times before. There was the whole, you know, kind of like a debate of she has a lot of YouTube watchers, right? People who just watch the YouTube videos, which sometimes tend to be like bots or whatever, like cut up into pieces. So people never tend to watch the Twitch streams or the whatever streams, right? So again, that is also something that maybe, you know, could be talked about, because not everybody would have known what happened during that stream. But as I said, I've tried my best to spread it at least as much as possible, so people don't you know, kind of fall for that, you know, kind of mindset, I guess. People saying it doesn't make any sense for anyone to think anything bad happened to her. She made it very clear in her last stream that her absence was entirely planned, as seen by her ending the stream with an edited video teasing my world. So most people don't watch her streams, which, yeah, I think is true, right? I think you can argue that, yeah, 100%, if you watch the stream and you took away from it that, you know, there was this kind of crazy, like, I don't know, what to call it, like she got into a crazy accident or like some kind of weird event or whatever, then I think that, you know, that's totally on you, because you watched the stream, you saw what was going on, and it's just like, okay, that's like your fault. But I think that if you didn't watch the stream, I don't think that's your fault at all, because again, you wouldn't have really known. And it's just one of those things where, yeah, you just kind of had to keep up with it somewhere else, whether it's through a video or maybe going back and watching the VODs. And then some people saying it's really not that serious. She had to take some time off for whatever reason, and life happens. VTuber fans need to try not to be more dramatic than the VTubers themselves. So yeah, interesting. And this isn't just on this post, by the way. This isn't just like, you know, one post. There's been a lot of people in every kind of comment section about it, right? Because obviously someone put up the post that Rima had of the Filian billboard. And literally the second comment is, meh, I've already lost interest. This ARG is one of the worst marketing in a while. Saying, I would argue that the actual bad thing about it is it completely misses Filian's target audience. I can see her working for some other VTubers. Neurosama fans kept the ARG alive for months without any input from VTuber, however, whoever was in charge of the ARG. But Filian produced ADHD content. ARG is arguably the worst idea for this kind of audience, which I can understand, right? It definitely doesn't seem like exactly the best idea when you have a very ADHD audience to do something that requires you not to be so ADHD, which again, I think is 100% a point that some people are making, right? Saying this is really so pointless. Not only 99% of people won't care for the ad itself over there, but they're just burning money on an ARG that could have been used on something actually useful for her return stream. But I guess I can't really expect Filian of all people to be more mindful when she's known for breaking VR equipment regularly. Then could spend all that money on possible ads, but took a while to pay for a new model. So why Shibuya? How many people in Japan know who Filian is? I feel like the only way this works is if she joins the JP Corpo, which I don't think she's doing. Which again could be, but I also think as well, as I said, there is also this notion of having something cool in your career to do, right? Filian is already very rich, right? She's got millions of subscribers, millions of views. She's already rich, right? She's already made her money. She doesn't, you know, I don't know if she can retire. Again, I don't know exactly her finances or whatever, but she has enough money to be spending money on like Shibuya crossing billboards. And I think that if she wants to do that as part of her career and a memory to remember as a part of her career, I think that's definitely valid enough, right? I don't think this billboard is necessarily to, you know, promote herself to a bunch of Japanese people that are walking by and looking at this billboard. No, I don't think that is actually the case at all whatsoever. I think it's just cool to say, hey, you know, we managed to get a billboard on Shibuya Crossing twice. Obviously, with the whole the wall thing as well, there's set to be another billboard up as well. So again, I think that's pretty cool, right? I think it's cool to be able to say that, hey, we did this. This is something that, you know, I spent my money on. And you can say it's pointless. You can say it doesn't help in terms of marketing whatsoever. That's fine. But I do think it's a cool thing, right? As a content creator, you know, myself, to be able to go, Yeah, no, we did that. We managed to get, you know, one of the craziest billboards in the whole of the world, right? Because a billboard in Shibuya Crossing is a very cool site, as we can see. You know, it's a very busy area, but also as well, it's kind of famous because of how many kind of billboards and ad space there is to kind of have one of your things there, right? So I think it is more of a personal, like almost bucket list kind of thing to do, rather than a genuine attempt at marketing towards Japanese people. So again, I do think that is my explanation for that, but of course, some people may not understand that. Some people may not, you know, care about that, which again is fine. But I do think, you know, it's understandable that Filian might want her own kind of, you know, cool thing to work towards, right? I want her own cool thing to remember, you know, from her career, because not everybody, as I said in the last video, wants to be remembered just for making videos, right? They don't want to be remembered for the person that just made videos, or they just made, you know, funny ADHD content or whatever, right? They want to be remembered for, oh, you know, they did that cool thing in Shibuya where they had an advert up twice, right? Which is kind of hard for any YouTuber to do, as, you know, we see with many big YouTuber projects, whether it's, you know, something like this, or whether it's something like, you know, I don't know, for example, like Giguk doing his anime, you know, he made an entire anime, and that's also really, really cool too. They all have their own, like, project things and their own things to remember from their career, and I think that is 100% maybe one of the reasons as to why Filian has, you know, kind of put this up here, right? But yeah, I mean, that is essentially all there is for this topic. I kind of wanted to cover it because, again, I've seen a lot of people not so happy at, you know, what's been going on with the whole Filian stuff lately. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.